Good morning, welcome to Morning Review. This is Kim Watson speaking on Friday, the 13th of November. So, what we have here on the euro dollar is, we ran it through again. We had the Asian session picked up overnight. I say overnight through the later US session and continues through the 8 o'clock bar here on the 4 hourlies, pushed into the 4 hourly 50, daily 8 moving average. We have seen some resistance there. It was just air kissed the weekly pivot now, got that one out of the way really, and snaps back at the moment. So we've already pulled back quite a distance now, relatively. What I'm looking from an analysis perspective, well, really, if we start breaking the lows of the 6 o'clock bar, we could be on for a move back into this choppy zone down towards the S1 sort of area. There is plenty of support in the way, but we'll just see how that runs. But it's not particularly great when we see this first thing in the morning. We've already pushed up halfway up to the R1 actually. The R1's quite a distance away, so there's quite a range today. So if we do see a break to the upside, I'd be looking for yesterday's highs and then maybe the R1 from there if we're looking to get higher lows in on this move. But as I say, at the moment there looks to be some sort of weakness in this move, and we may just roll over here if we break through these 21s through the 50 towards this S1 area, and maybe yesterday's lows. Okay, it's the euro cable. Cable from a daily perspective here is continue pushing upwards, but again is running to its upper bands, just run through the daily 8 moving average. There's consolidating here. You can see it pretty much on this 4 hourly chart here. So there's quite a lot of consolidation kicking in there. Again on the hourly, you can see the sort of wedgy sort of pattern that we've got. A break through that 200 moving average, well, gives us to yesterday's highs and maybe the R1 on the continued path up there. It's been particularly reasonably good at getting these shoves up lately, so maybe if it does get a shove up, that'd be an area I'll be looking for. Likewise, if it breaks down well, you've got yesterday's lows, the S1, and maybe pop back down towards that 100 MA. That's about 151.58, but it's looking more bullish than bearish at the moment, which in itself may just drag the euro up, but we'll see. But certainly a wedge pattern. We put a lower high here and a higher low, but then a lower high and a higher low. So sorry, higher low there. So we're seeing this sort of, as I say, wedge. A break of that wedge should give us the depth of the wedge, which should easily see us clear up to that R1 and maybe beyond. But see how we roll. Dollar yen. Dollar yen has been gradually gaining a bit of strength, but it's been put us in this big ball flag pattern from a daily perspective. It's seeing a bounce off the daily 8 again. Channel that's sort of running down here is just continuing to just make lower lows and lower highs, so it's just been popping in there. So it's not really changed shape significantly, and you can see it here. We're already below the daily pivot, which may suggest continuation down to that S1 area. Break of the trend line there may just see that kick into play. Likewise, break of the highs here may see us running into the R1, and maybe stalling quite quickly as it puts in another lower high. But if any sort of surge through that could see us we'll run into yesterday's highs there. Maybe a good push would take us up to the R2, but at the moment with these lower lows, lower highs, it's suggesting that the bearish way would be or downside would be more likely. Okay, Aussie dollar. So the Aussie dollar, another kicker yesterday, and another kicker, well, really yesterday. I was saying that, yeah, it was yesterday morning. Yesterday morning, it's had another sort of sold off part of the day, and then it pushed up back into the last couple of bars of yesterday again. So on the 4 hourlies there, so pushing up pretty close to its highs. Again, from a daily point of view, though, when we're looking at its chart, it's just putting a series of lower highs in and lower lows. So it's the focus may be more towards the downside, but maybe we had a bit of divergence kicking on the 4 hourlies here. We've put um, a bit of a higher, certainly a higher low in one point. If we were to start breaking to the upside, well, maybe. Sorry, let me just get rid of this regression channel off here. Maybe we could kick up towards the R1, but there is pretty much a trend line that's sort of sitting across the highs here, in that region there. So if we do see a break of that upside, well, yesterday's highs and then the R1 could be a possibility. We've got the untouched daily pivot at the moment. That price may just want to come down towards that. It's a tight one at the moment, and it won't offer a lot of profit in terms of any break of the trend line there. So it's going to be thin pickings on that back to the daily pivot, but a rollover maybe back to that 50 MA would be a better target. But at the moment, to say, a lot of the bigger pictures really suggesting it may be the 4 hourly may be doing a reversal here, and we maybe see a bigger reversal, but less clear on this hourly picture. Okay, and finally, Canadian dollar. Again, it's been making generally, it's sort of confirmed high. There's a low there, higher low, another higher low coming in, highs, and it's really sort of urging its way up. It finally broke out yesterday of this trend line I've drawn on here previously, broke up there up to the monthly R1 area. If we pull back a little bit here, then it got into a lot of chop here. There's some US speakers out in the afternoon and really giving it a good kick. And since then, we saw the depth of that range pretty much hit all in yesterday, come 12 o'clock onwards. So it really did give it a kicker. At the moment, it looks a bit more messy. It hasn't yet got up to its daily R1. I mean, I think yesterday's highs may just put a stopper on that, but if it does get a kicker, it'd be certainly something to be looking at. Potentially, it's a little bit more difficult in terms of entries on the upper side here, maybe a break of this trend line, but then you've got the bodies of these candles, and the monthly R1 may just provide initial resistance, but possible push up to yesterday's highs and the R1 there. So the downside, it does start or continue in this sort of weaker looking bit of motion here. Well, if it does roll over here, we could break through this lower level. Got to watch out for that retest of that 50 MA. It has been tested before, basically very quickly at the 9 o'clock bar yesterday, but that may just provide some support again. 50 34 together. Break of that, well, really I would be looking at the sort of midpoints here, and then yesterday's lows as a potential. It starts really getting any sort of distance on, but certainly at the moment it's a bit choppier looking, but from this short-term time frame. Okay, news-wise today we've got GDP we've already had come out. The German GDP figures already been released. It came out in line. We've got the French non-farm payrolls at 7:45. May give us a little bit of kicker in about 10 minutes or so, and some other GDP figures. And finally at 10 o'clock we get the flash GDP number coming in for Europe. Now, it doesn't really give major moves here. The bigger one's already been released, the German figure. The 10 o'clock one, we may just get a blip more than anything else. However, in the afternoon, we've got core retail sales coming out at 1:30. So that may give us a bit of action, and the PPI coming out with it at the same time. So that may give us a bit of action in the US. See how spending's going. It's already been showing in other recordings that it's looking relatively stable and good to start with. So we'll see how it was last month, and then we've got later on we've got consumer sentiment at 3 o'clock. That doesn't really give us much in the way of movement at all at the moment. So the bigger one there is the core retail sales. Okay, that's it for me. Hope you have a great day. Bye for now.